Greetings, I'm Tim Mosso, Director IW Magazine, and today I'm sharing the Jaeger-LeCoultre Duometre Quantième Lunaire. Now, the Duomètre line, originally launched in 2007, has become something of an engineering icon of the manufacturer from Le Sentier. Although the Reverso is the undisputed style icon of the company, that is, the look that you immediately associate with the Maison, the Duomètre line is the most unique engineering tradition of the modern era, and it's a system that's still exclusive to Jaeger-LeCoultre, deeply rooted in its own history, and extremely distinctive from an aesthetic standpoint. Now, the original chronograph came out in 2007, and notably it won Time Zone Watch of the Year. JLC followed up with the Duomètre Quantième Lunaire in 2010, releasing the watch you see here. 18-karat pink gold, 42 millimeters across the case, and just over 11 millimeters thick. This watch features a combination of a celestial complication, so moon and age of the moon, as well as a date. Now, if 374 parts and 42 jewels, with a movement of this complexity, seems like overkill for a moon phase and a date, it's just because the underlying concept of the watch is not so much calendar functions, but chronometry, and therein the watch begins to make sense. Now, although the style of the watch is definitely pocket watch inspired, you can see a deep case, deep lugs, contrasting finish. It almost has the look of a pocket watch on the wrist. The focal point of the watch is easily the movement. Now, all of the indications of the silver-grained guilloche and skeletonized dial are powered by a separate mainspring barrel. The mainspring barrel, represented by the power reserve scale just under my thumb, powers hours, minutes, seconds, flying seconds, age of the moon, moon phase, and date. The second mainspring barrel, represented by the power reserve at approximately 7 o'clock, the second mainspring barrel only powers the escapement, maintaining the isochronism and amplitude of the balance. Here's the idea. When you have complications drawing down the power of a conventional watch with one mainspring barrel, it's simply divided too thin, which is to say amplitude and isochronism suffer as the complications draw down the energy that should otherwise be used to simply impulse the balance. This results in a loss of amplitude and a loss of isochronism, which diminishes precision. Now, the idea here is that one mainspring barrel will always maintain absolute amplitude and isochronism of the balance itself, and the other mainspring barrel hauls the iron and powers the indications of the dial. Now, what's a precise watch that can't be set precisely? JLC agrees and equips this watch with one of the most interesting hacking functions I've ever experienced. Now, it's almost a three-step process. You pull the crown to the first stop, and you can see that the foudroyant, the flying seconds, stops at the index at 12, or 1, I should say. Now, the seconds hand is also stopped, but it's when you pull to the second detent that a hammer falls on the wheel mounting the seconds hand, much like a chronograph. The hammer recenters the watch's seconds hand and allows precise synchronization now to the minute against a reference time such as an atomic clock or a quartz watch. Also important to note, it may be a stop seconds function, but it is not a balance stop function. It doesn't hack the movement. You can see the balance continues to oscillate at 21,600 vibrations per hour, so when you restart, it doesn't have to regain amplitude, so timing is not affected. Now, the watch does feature a power reserve of 50 hours, thanks to those dual mainspring barrels. You'll also note when I restore the position of the crown, it's best to turn it over, watch at center. You can see the hammer withdraws, and the seconds hand continues to rotate again. You can see the movement of that center wheel. Now, aesthetically, this is spectacular, but it does pay homage to history. It's pretty, but it's also historically representative, as the 1881 minute-repeating deadbeat seconds chronometer pocket watch that inspired this timepiece, it's in the archives at Le Sentier JLC. It actually looks exactly like this, right down to the adjacent twin mainspring barrels. Now, the watch also features a unique choice of material for the bridges and the plates. It's what's known as German silver or miquart in the French-speaking watch industry zones. Now, what it is effectively is not exactly silver. It's a combination of zinc, nickel, and copper, and that's what imparts the copper the golden hue to it. This is not like conventional rhodium-plated brass bridges and plates, which are blindingly silver, actually a lot like the mainspring barrels. You can see the contrast between rhodium on the mainspring barrels and the miquart on the plates. This is golden, and it becomes more intense with time. It has the property of being A, exceptionally difficult to work with, B, anti-magnetic, and C, exceptionally corrosion resistant, hence its choice in pocket watches. In the modern era, because this watch pays homage to pocket watches, that standard of material has been respected, as have the finishing standards of the Valet de Jeu in which Jaeger-LeCoultre is located. You can see a gorgeous rayon-style Côte de Soleil radiating out from the balance, the focal point of the movement. All of the bridges featured nicely polished anglage across their edges, and all of the screws are heat oxidized to achieve that gorgeous cobalt blue. The watch also has a nice and even perlage engine turning across the base plate. It's as handsome on its reverse side as it is on its dial side, and above all, exceptionally accurate. Now, sound off in the comment threads. Let us know what you think about this watch. Let us know what you think about the Duomètre line, which is expanded to including the Sphero-Tourbillon, the UTT Universal Time. Of course, there's the Quantième Lunaire. There's even a version of this watch with an enamel dial, and of course, the original Jaeger-LeCoultre Duometre chronograph. Let us know what you think about these watches, and check out our website, IW Magazine, for coverage of the entire Jaeger-LeCoultre model line this year and into next spring's new watch model year debut season. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos.